Graham looks to be at 20, Eric at 11. Now, I imagine that Dwayne's going to be in the lead given the deck that he's playing.
Sure.
And Eric's trying to stabilize.
Yeah, we appear to be squarely in the mid game, and Eric looks like he's behind, which is right where Dwayne wants to be against a deck like this. So we'll see if Eric is able to claw his way back into a position here that's able to battle his opponent.
Well, Declaration in Stone is a good start. That's going to take care of Archangel of Tithes. And now, if you take a look at Dwayne's board, he's got a bunch of lands out there, access to green mana, going to sacrifice a clue. Always Watching along with the Thalia's Lieutenant, which is a 3/3, but actually a 4/4 because of Always Watching. And one of the more relevant lands out there is the Westvale Abbey.
Well, and that Thalia's Lieutenant might as well just be a 2/2 because it's going to get Blink with the Displacer.
Sure.
And it's going to lose those +1/+1 counters.
Well, there is the Blink from the Displacer. A Plains here from Graham, another copy of Always Watching, and he's only passed the turn back to Eric, who will draw now. A couple copies of Thought Knots here in Eric's hand, not great right now.
They're a little awkward when the opponent has no cards in their hand, but it's still a 4/4 body, which is, significant.
Eldrazi Displacer, and now here's a Gideon. This looks like maybe Eric trying to turn up the heat a little bit. That'll start on 4, Knight Ally on the way, and Eric also does have a clue on the battlefield right now, just not enough mana to sacrifice it as we head back over to Dwayne Graham.
Dwayne in a pretty tough spot here. We see all of these lands on the board, which is not really where he wants to be. He does have the Abbey to sink some of these mana sources into, but they don't get the bonus from the Always Watching. So those little 1/1s aren't super significant. And if Eric starts having extra lands sitting around, he can blink the tokens with the Eldrazi Displacer and they won't come back to the battlefield.
Well, there's an activation of Westvale Abbey. Dwayne will lose a life to get that Human Cleric. You see Thalia's Lieutenant coming into Gideon, a quick block from the Knight Ally token, and now we head back Eric's way. He'll draw a card here. He does have a copy of Sorin in hand, and I'm sure he'd love to be able to play. But he's not there just yet.
It looks like Eric's kind of desperate for 1 or 2 more mana sources to open up some of these other cards in his hand. The Westvale Abbey on the opponent's side, along with the Lieutenant, is a very interesting interaction where the Thalia's Lieutenant gets bigger every time the Abbey is activated. And if Eric decides, if Eric would decide to blink the Lieutenant in order to lose the tokens, the Lieutenant coming back would actually make the human monks bigger.
Well, the arrogance is relatively tragic.
But yeah, the tragic arrogance makes all that moot.
Yeah. So Eric says you get to keep a Human Cleric.
Yep.
And an Always Watching, which don't work very well together. And I'll get to keep my Gideon, my Eldrazi Displacer, and this Clue over here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Eric's in the driver's seat. Not a ton of life total. And that was one of Dwayne's better draw steps.
Yes, it was in Tireless Tracker. So that's going to bring along a Clue. And this is actually a way for Dwayne to start working himself through maybe drawing a lot of lands. So he'll sacrifice a Clue. This old tracker will get a little bit bigger. And what's the follow-up now? The follow-up is Knight of the White Orc. It doesn't get to search for a land, but it is a 3/3 because of Always Watching. And just like that, Dwayne's board is back.
Yeah, that Tireless Tracker was a great draw step for him. And we've seen this with some of the humans and the creature decks, the aggressive decks. They've got this staying power. They've got these little mechanics built into them that allow them to push through in the mid-game that a lot of previous versions of aggressive decks didn't have the ability to do that.
Gideon's going to attack. And Human Cleric will block very quickly. And now Eric will just pass the turn back. Back over to Graham we'll go. Yeah, this Tireless Tracker is great in situations like this.
Yep, every draw step, it's going to yield something good.
Yep. So sacrifice the Clue. Tireless Tracker gets a little bit larger, draw a card. Now Graham will just pass the turn back. Eric's going to play in Archangel Avacyn.
Yeah, and that's pretty heads-up play by Dwayne. He's in kind of a bad spot where he has to get the damage in when he can, but running right into the spear point of this Archangel Avacyn would just put him out of the game again.
Knight of the White Orc at the draw here for Eric. Really good in combination with Eldrazi Displacer right now.
Yes. Just good by itself. We were talking about how Eric needed the extra mana. This provides a great blocker on the battlefield for him and goes and searches up another mana source.
So Knight of the White Orchid. Going to search up a basic plains. We might be seeing Archangel Avacyn attack here in just a moment.
And we'll see if Gideon wants to get aggressive again as well.
And the concern right now for Eric is, does maybe my opponent have Archangel Avacyn in hand? So I want to take a look at the deck list, see if Dwayne is actually playing any copies of that card. Remember, both these players do have access to each other's decks, so they'll be able to, they know what each player has here. And it does not look like, a couple on the board. A couple on the board for Archangel Avacyn.
Yep.
Archangel, the ties in the main deck, Archangel Avacyn in the sideboard.
And the Planeswalker does get aggressive. I like it. Eric, let's close out this game.
See what Dwayne's got. Clip Wings. Good beats.
And yeah, Eric's thinking that he can blink the Archangel Avacyn to make it indestructible, but he would still have to sacrifice a flying creature.
So that Archangel Avacyn's going to go down no matter what. So there goes the very powerful Mythic Flyer.
It's also interesting to think that Eric can use the Displacer to blink his Gideon and then use its ability again.
Yeah, it's a cool aspect of it.
Yeah, that's something that we haven't seen yet.
I don't know if it's going to come up or not, but he's just going to pass the turn for now. Back over to Dwayne Graham. Time for him to draw. Again, lands are good, spells are good. Lands are good because of Tireless Tracker.
It all works.
Yep. You don't want to draw too many lands, obviously, but it's not the end of the world. Tracker will draw a card, get another counter.
And with only 4 mana up on the other side, I expect to see Dwayne get both of his creatures into the red zone.
I wonder what he's casting now. All right, Archangel Tithes. That's a good one.
Yep.
4-6 currently because of Always Watching. So we'll see how Dwayne Graham does want to attack here.
If they do both come in, I expect Eric to blink out the Tireless Tracker with the Displacer and then just use the token to chump block the Knight, or depending on where these attackers are going, he might just let the Knight of the White Orchid come through.
Now I'm going to check Eric's deck list because I want to see how many planes he has. He got 6. So he just blinks out the Tireless Tracker.
Yeah.
And Gideon will fall down a little bit. In that situation, because Tireless Tracker doesn't have trample, maybe block with the Knight and then blink that out?
Yeah.
Be able to get a land?
Yeah, that would have been a little sharper play. And the lands would be so valuable for him.
Well, he might be able to just attack for lethal right now because Archangel's tapped right now, so he gets in with everything, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Eric Hymel's going to win this match here over Dwayne Graham 2-1. White-Black Eldrazi will take care of White-Green Humans. That means Eric Hymel will be moving on to play Jim Davis in the semifinals, and that means that Craig Krempels, ladies and gentlemen, is 4 for 4
Cedric,
with his quarterfinal predictions.
what just happened?